All right, guys, we're starting some video notes today over our last section in our unit on triangle congruence. So go to that in your notes packet, and we're going to write down all these. Now, since these are video notes, what I'd like you to do is be sure that if I'm going too fast, you can maybe pause the video and write down what's on that screen, or if you need to go back and rewind it, just make sure that you get all these notes written down in your note packet. All right. So today we're saying that we can prove that corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent, or we're going to learn it a little bit abbreviated, and it's this kind of CPCTC. I might have mentioned this in class a couple times, but this is kind of the last section that we need to know as far as our triangle congruence goes. And what this says is if you have proven that two triangles are congruent, all right, that's what we've been doing this last week or so, even more, by our angle, angle, side angle, side angle, all those things, right? Then it says that all their corresponding angles and sides are also going to be congruent. Okay, so go ahead and write that down and then meet me on the next slide once you have that. All right, this next slide says triangle ABC is congruent to triangle ABD. We need to name all the congruent sides and all the congruent angles. All right, so if you remember, the way that these are listed out, we can write their angles right away. All right, for example, A and A, those are both the first letters in each triangle. All right, so I'm going to put one loop here and one loop here to show those angles are congruent. Same thing for B. I'll put 2 maybe. And then C and D, I'll put 3 on C and 3 on D. Do this in your notes. Okay. And then we can do the same thing for the sides. All right. Right away, I know that AB is going to be congruent based off of our reflexive property, but it's also true here. AB is our first 2 letters and our first 2 letters in our congruent statement. Okay. Some other letters that kind of correspond. We have BC and BD, the second 2 and the second 2 over here. All right. So BC and BD, I'll put maybe 1 tick mark there and there. And then the last ones are my first and last AC and first and last AD. So those get 3 here and here. All right, let's go ahead and list those out now and say what those sides and angles actually are. Let's start maybe with our angles. Okay, so if I want to do angle A first, I actually have to say angle CAB. So I know which triangle this is in, because there's kind of like 2 angle A's. There's the top and the bottom. I don't know if I'm talking top or bottom unless I use 3 of the vertices to show that. So I'm going to say angle CAB. CAB, that's the one that has the 1 loop, and that's going to be congruent to DAB. Okay, what's another angle that's congruent? What about, that was A, what about B? Well, B is kind of the same idea. I'm going to do CBA, angle CBA. Again, your vertex is the middle letter that you write there. All right, is congruent to angle DBA. DBA. And then the last one is nice and easy. I know there's only one D and only one C angles. So what I can do for this is just say angle C is congruent to angle D. Angle C is congruent to angle D. This does not need 3 letters because I know exactly which triangle those are in. Okay, so those are all the angles. Now I have to also write out the sides. Let's start with the side, maybe with our 1 tick mark. We'll go 1, 2, 3. So in the top triangle, the 1 tick mark is CB. All right, CB. So I'm going to say side CB is congruent to side. Now you have to be a little bit careful with how you write this. You have to say DB. Okay, DB. And again, it's DB instead of BD because C had the 3 loops, B had the 2, D has a 3, B has a 2. Write those in the same way. All right, the other 2 real quick. AB is going to be congruent to AB. AB congruent to AB. And then lastly, AC is congruent to AD. AC is congruent to AD. Okay, get those written down in your notes, and then go ahead and click on this video. I'll put it on the screen for you down there. All right, that way we can fill out the next portion of your notes packet.